Hi, podcast. I'm Ethan, and today we're looking at a recent EMNLP study titled A Thorough Examination of Decoding Methods in the Era of LLMs. The short version comes first. There is no single decoding method that wins in every situation. The best choice depends on the task, the model's alignment and size, and practical factors like quantization and latency. If you remember only one thing, remember that decoding is situational.
Hi, I'm Maya. That headline is clear. Before we dive in, who led the work?
The study was led by Chufan and Haoran, with collaborators from Tsinghua University, the Chinese University of Hong Kong, and Tencent AI Lab. It appeared at EMNLP in 2024.
Great. Give us the backdrop. Why did the field need a fresh look at decoding?
Earlier comparisons often came from task-specific systems built before today's large, general-purpose models. At the same time, the number of decoding strategies has grown fast, while many real-world interfaces still expose just temperature and top P. The authors set out to ask a simple question with a broad scope: what actually works now across modern models and tasks? And how sensitive are those choices to tuning and speed?
Right. Older rules of thumb may not transfer. What had past research usually claimed?
The classic story was that deterministic search, like Greedy or Beam, tends to do better on closed tasks such as translation or coding, while stochastic sampling tends to shine on open-ended writing. The team wanted to see how well that split holds for today's models and for newer decoding variants.
What methods did they put on the bench?
They evaluated a broad mix. On the deterministic side, they looked at Greedy, Beam, Diverse Beam, Contrastive Search, Contrastive Decoding, Dolay, and a lightweight approach called Frustratingly Simple Decoding. On the sampling side, they studied temperature, top P, top K, ITA, typical, and mirrostat. The goal was to compare performance, robustness to hyperparameters, and speed.
And what did the experiments look like in practice?
They used a wide range of tasks so the results would not hinge on a single benchmark. Closed tasks included coding and math. They also covered summarization, translation, common sense, instruction following, and factuality. For open-ended generation, they tracked distributional quality with established metrics. The main testbed was the Llama 2 family, both base and chat-aligned models, with additional checks on other model families. They also examined the effects of model size and of quantization, since those matter in deployment.
All right, time for the takeaways. What did they find?
The broad split still holds. On closed-ended tasks, deterministic methods usually come out ahead. On open-ended writing, sampling tends to do better. That contrast is most visible on unaligned base models. Once you switch to aligned chat models, the gaps between methods shrink and decoding choice becomes less sensitive. The authors link this to lower token uncertainty in aligned models, which produce more structured outputs.
So alignment smooths the landscape. If someone does want to sample, where should they start?
Temperature sampling was the most dependable of the sampling methods for closed tasks. A low temperature is often a good default when there is a single right answer. Still, a quick tune is wise because details matter.
How fragile are these methods when you do not tune much?
Some methods look great only after careful tuning. When you hold parameters fixed, their performance can drop. Others are steadier. In practice, that argues for robust defaults like low temperature sampling or simple deterministic choices such as Greedy, Beam, or the simple decoding method I mentioned.
Latency always comes up in production. What did they observe about speed?
Sampling methods are generally close to Greedy in speed. The simple decoding method stays near that range too, which makes it attractive. Beam and Diverse Beam add a modest delay. Methods that compare candidates or layers, like contrastive search or contrastive decoding, add more overhead and can grow slower as sequences get longer. If you have strict latency targets, those differences matter.
What about taking multiple samples and voting? Does that actually help?
Yes. On reasoning and math, generating several candidates and then selecting the best answer can outperform a single pass. The trade-off is extra compute and time, so it is a quality knob you turn when you can afford the cost.
And the effects of scaling and quantization?
Bigger models tend to narrow the differences between decoding methods. although the best settings still shift, so you should revisit hyperparameters as you scale. Quantization can reshuffle the winners. Some sampling methods become more brittle, while deterministic methods are usually steadier. If you deploy on NT8 or NT4, it is smart to re-benchmark your decoding choice.
Could you turn that into a quick playbook for practitioners?
Sure, for closed-ended tasks on aligning models, start with a simple deterministic approach, such as greedy, beam, or the simple decoding method. If you need variety, try temperature sampling with a low setting and validate quickly. For open-ended writing, begin with sampling and adjust temperature or top P to control style and diversity. If quality is paramount and time allows, consider multiple samples with selection. When latency is tight, be careful with heavier contrastive methods. And whenever you scale up or switch to a quantized build, test your decoding again.
Every paper has limits. What should listeners keep in mind?
Much of the deep analysis focuses on the Llama 2 family, with checks on other models. That is useful, but teams should still verify on their own stacks. Some methods are sensitive to hyperparameters, so if you cannot tune, you may not see the best-case numbers. For open-ended generation, automatic metrics help, but do not replace human review. The authors also did not explore mixing multiple controls in a single strategy.
Before we close, give us quick intuition for two names people keep hearing: the simple decoding method and DOLA.
The simple decoding method builds a tiny anti-language model on the fly from the text you have generated so far. It nudges the next token choice away from repetition while staying light on compute. DOLA contrasts the signals from earlier and later layers of the model, emphasizing the later layers to reduce shallow predictions. It can help in some cases, but it is more computationally involved than basic sampling.
That makes sense. Could you wrap with a short forward look?
Here is the outlook. Decoding choice still matters, but the right choice depends on your task, your model, and your constraints. Alignment narrows differences. Temperature is a safe first stop among sampling methods for closed tasks. Multiple samples with selection can lift reasoning performance when you can pay the cost. Looking ahead, 3 directions stand out. First, principled ways to combine controls. Second, stronger defaults that travel across tasks without heavy tuning. Third, hardware-aware decoding that stays stable on quantized and edge deployments. Broader human studies and more languages will also help. Thanks for listening to AI Podcast.
Thanks, Ethan. Clear, calm, and useful. I'm Maya, and this was AI Podcast. See you next time.